Lieutenant Alex Carter stepped off the shuttle onto the polished metal floor of the medical station. The station orbited a human colony on a distant planet, a place where humans and aliens worked together in a fragile but hopeful peace. It was Alex's first assignment here, and already the hum of machinery, the soft chatter of different species, and the flickering lights of holographic displays felt overwhelming. Alex had been trained for many things: combat, diplomacy, survival, but nothing had prepared him for the sheer variety of alien life he would see here. Some aliens were tall and slender, with translucent skin that shimmered in the light. Others had multiple eyes or long tentacle-like limbs that moved with incredible precision. Among them, one nurse stood out, not because of her appearance, but because of her curiosity. Her name was Lyra. She was young by her species' standards, with delicate wings folded neatly behind her back and a face that was almost childlike, except for the sharp intelligence in her eyes. She moved gracefully through the station, attending to patients and medical equipment, but always watching, always learning. Alex had noticed her from the moment he arrived. She seemed unafraid of humans, which was unusual. Most aliens kept their distance at first, unsure how humans thought or acted. Lyra, however, moved closer, studied him with wide, inquisitive eyes, and spoke in perfect Basic, the universal language of the colonies. It was during a routine checkup that she finally spoke directly to him. "Lieutenant Carter," she said, her voice soft but steady, "I have a question. A personal one." Alex blinked, unsure how to respond. He was used to questions about medicine, procedures, or alien biology, but this felt different. "What is it?" he asked carefully. Lyra hesitated for a moment, then leaned slightly closer. "I want to understand humans better, specifically how humans reproduce. Can you teach me?" Alex froze, not because he was shocked he had faced stranger questions in training, but because of the honesty in her eyes. There was no malice, no joking tone, just pure, unfiltered curiosity. He cleared his throat. "That's a very personal question. Why do you want to know?" Lyra tilted her head, wings fluttering lightly. "It is part of understanding your species. My people reproduce differently. Very differently. I need to know to care for humans properly, to help them." Alex realized then that she wasn't asking for personal reasons. She was asking as a nurse, as someone who wanted to truly understand humans to do her job better. That understanding gave him a measure of relief. "All right," he said slowly, choosing his words carefully. "I can explain. Scientifically, biologically, nothing personal about anyone here, just the facts." Lyra's eyes lit up. "Yes, please, I want facts." So they began. Alex led Lyra to a quiet laboratory, away from the patient rooms and the chatter of the station. The room was filled with holographic displays of the human body, each system glowing softly in shades of blue and green. Alex activated a human anatomy hologram, and a life-sized figure appeared in front of them, muscles, organs, and bones all visible. "This is a human body," Alex began. "Male and female bodies have differences, especially in the reproductive system. The purpose of reproduction is to create offspring. It is a combination of biological processes and emotional connection." Lyra tilted her head, studying the hologram with fascination. Her species reproduced through a communal genetic exchange, so the idea of intimate partnerships was strange but intriguing. Alex pointed to the reproductive organs on the hologram. In humans, males produce sperm and females produce eggs. When a sperm and an egg meet, fertilization occurs. That fertilized egg becomes an embryo, which grows inside the female's uterus until birth. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. "Inside the female? It grows inside her body?" "Yes," Alex replied. "Humans carry their young inside them for months, usually about 9 months. During this time, the female's body changes to support the growing baby. Humans care for their young after birth too, feeding, protecting, teaching. Humans are very involved in raising their children." Lyra absorbed this information silently. She had never known any species to invest so much care and time into their offspring. Her people shared genetic material across many members of their colony, but they did not experience this kind of long-term, individual care. "Do both parents help?" she asked, her voice gentle. "Sometimes," Alex said. "Many humans do, but not all. Family structures can vary. The important part is that humans care deeply for their young, not just biologically, but emotionally." Lyra paused. "Emotions are important?" Alex smiled slightly. Yes, love, trust, bonding. These are central to human reproduction. Humans are not just about biology. They connect with each other on many levels. Lyra's wings twitched with excitement. This is very different from my people. We share genes, but we do not form bonds like this. Fascinating. For the next hour, Alex continued his explanation, using diagrams, holograms, and careful descriptions. He focused on biology and social patterns, avoiding anything too personal. Lyra asked questions at every step, sometimes pausing to compare human processes with her species' methods. At one point, she asked something that made Alex pause. "Lieutenant," she said quietly, "do humans choose partners carefully? Not for reproduction alone, but for emotional connection?" Alex considered. Yes, many do. Humans value trust and companionship. Choosing a partner is not just about reproduction. It's about sharing life, facing challenges together, building a family. Lyra seemed thoughtful. "I see. That is beautiful." Different but beautiful. As the lesson ended, Alex noticed a change in Lyra. Her curiosity was no longer purely academic. She seemed to understand something deeper about humans. Why they cared, why they fought for each other, why they formed families. "Thank you," she said softly. "You have taught me more than I expected. I want to learn more, not just about reproduction, but about humans." Alex nodded. "Then I can help. You can observe, ask questions, and I'll explain what I can. But remember, understanding humans takes time. It's more than biology." Lyra's eyes gleamed. "I have time. I am patient. I want to understand." In the days that followed, Lyra began shadowing Alex during his duties. She watched him interact with human patients, observed families on the colony, and asked careful, respectful questions. Her curiosity was insatiable, but always polite, always scientific. Alex found himself surprised at how much he enjoyed explaining things to her. Teaching Lyra about humans reminded him of what it meant to be human himself, caring for others, striving to understand, reaching beyond instinct to create bonds. One evening, as the station's artificial sun dimmed into night mode, Lyra lingered beside a window, staring at the distant planet below. Alex joined her quietly. "Do you ever wonder why humans do things differently?" Lyra asked. "All the time," Alex admitted. "But it's our differences that make us strong. We survive because we connect, because we feel, because we fight for each other." Lyra nodded, wings resting. "I think I understand a little now. Humans are complex, brave, caring," Alex smiled. "Yes, and that's just the beginning. There's a lot more to learn, not just about reproduction, but about life, family, and love. Things you cannot see in a diagram." Lyra looked at him, eyes wide with curiosity and respect. "Then teach me, Lieutenant. Teach me everything." Alex realized then that this journey would be different from any mission he had ever been on. It wasn't about strategy, diplomacy, or even survival. It was about sharing humanity, its biology, its spirit, its heart, with someone who had never known it before. As the station hummed softly around them, Alex felt a quiet hope. Perhaps teaching Lyra about humans was not just about her learning. It was about reminding himself why humans were worth understanding, worth protecting, and worth being proud of. And so, under the dim glow of the station lights, the first lessons began, not just of science, but of life itself. The next morning, the station's corridors buzzed with the usual activity: medical droids gliding smoothly between rooms, aliens from distant worlds carrying supplies, and humans moving quickly, focused on their tasks. Yet in one quiet corner of the station, a small laboratory became the center of a very different kind of activity. Lieutenant Alex Carter prepared the holographic displays once again, this time ready for a more structured lesson. Lyra arrived promptly, her wings fluttering lightly as she carried a datapad filled with notes and sketches from their previous discussion. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity and a determination that reminded Alex of why he had agreed to teach her in the first place. "Good morning, Lyra," Alex said, giving her a small nod. "Are you ready for today's lesson?" Lyra's head tilted in a nod of enthusiasm. "Yes, Lieutenant. I want to understand humans completely, how they reproduce, how they raise their young, and why they do these things." "All of it," Alex smiled. "Then let's begin." He activated the holograms again. The floating images of human bodies glowed softly, showing internal organs, cells, and reproductive systems in intricate detail. Alex started with a recap of their last discussion. ensuring Lyra had retained the basics. She nodded attentively, asking precise questions that demonstrated her keen memory and logical thinking. Today, Alex began, we will look at reproduction as a process, from conception to birth, and then we will explore human parenting and emotional bonds. Lyra leaned in closer, wings twitching slightly. I am ready. Alex showed her a hologram of a human egg and sperm. Fertilization begins when a sperm cell from the male meets an egg from the female. This usually happens inside the female's body, in the reproductive tract. Once the sperm penetrates the egg, a new life begins. Lyra studied the display carefully. So one sperm is enough to create life? Yes, Alex explained. Thousands of sperm may reach the egg, but only one succeeds in fertilization. The egg then starts dividing and becomes an embryo. The embryo grows inside the female's uterus for about 9 months. Lyra tilted her head, wings fluttering. 9 months. That is a long time. And humans care for the young even after they are born? Exactly, Alex said. Humans invest a lot of time and energy into raising their children. Feeding, protecting, teaching, and showing affection. These are all part of reproduction. Lyra's eyes shone with fascination. My species does not do this. We share genetic material, yes, but raising young is a communal duty and there is little emotional attachment. Humans would seem very different. That's true, Alex replied. Humans are emotional creatures. Love, trust, and bonding are central to our reproduction. It is not just biology, it is connection, commitment, and care. Lyra paused, processing the information. Connection, care. These are important for survival? Yes, Alex said. Human babies are very vulnerable. They cannot survive without adults who feed and protect them. Emotional bonds ensure that adults stay close, cooperate, and raise their children together. Lyra's wings twitched, showing excitement. Fascinating. So reproduction is not just about creating life. It is about forming relationships that keep the young safe and help them grow. Alex nodded. Exactly. Now let's look at some of the stages of development. He activated another hologram, showing an embryo growing inside the uterus. Lyra watched intently as the image changed, showing the tiny heart beating, the limbs forming, and the first movements of the fetus. Each stage is critical, Alex explained. Mistakes can be dangerous, so humans take care during pregnancy. Nutrition, rest, and protection are important. Humans also feel strong emotions during this time, partly due to hormones, partly because they are preparing to care for another life. Lyra's eyes widened. Emotions are integral, not just physical protection. Humans truly invest themselves completely. Yes, Alex said. It is part of what makes humans resilient. We survive not just because of strength or skill, but because we care for each other. The lesson continued for hours. Alex showed Lyra human parenting practices, from breastfeeding to teaching children basic skills, explaining how trust and affection guide the learning process. He also compared these behaviors to Lyra's species, highlighting similarities and differences without judgment. Lyra was a quick learner. She asked questions that went beyond biology, probing into human psychology and social habits. Why do humans form pairs? Is it always for reproduction? Alex thought carefully. Not always. Pairing often helps humans survive and support each other. Sometimes it is for love, sometimes for security, sometimes both. The bond strengthens families, which strengthens communities. Lyra's eyes reflected deep thought. So humans are not just reproducing for numbers, they are reproducing for continuity, safety, and emotional bonds. Very different from my people who share genes without such bonds. Alex smiled at her insight. Yes, that's why humans are special. We invest emotionally, not just physically. As the day progressed, Lyra began making comparisons in her notes. She sketched diagrams showing human reproduction side by side with her species' methods. She noticed that humans had fewer children, but invested heavily in each one, while her species had many offspring with shared care responsibilities. She found this contrast intriguing and sometimes surprising. At one point, Lyra asked a delicate question. Lieutenant, do humans ever fail in these bonds? Yes, Alex admitted. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes families break apart or adults do not care for their children properly. But even then, humans try again. Other family members, friends, or communities often step in. The desire to care for the young is strong. Lyra considered this quietly. So humans are not perfect, but they strive for connection and protection. That is admirable. Alex nodded. Exactly. imperfect but driven by care and empathy. That is what makes humans resilient and unique. As the lesson wound down, Lyra paused, her eyes thoughtful. "Lieutenant, your explanations? They are clear, precise, and respectful. But I want to see humans in real situations, not just holograms." Alex smiled. "I thought you might say that. Tomorrow we will visit a colony settlement. You will observe families, their interactions, and how they care for their young. It will help you understand humans beyond biology." Lyra's wings fluttered in excitement. "I look forward to it. Observation will complete my understanding." After Lyra left for her duties, Alex leaned back in his chair, reflecting on the day. Teaching her had been more than a lesson in biology. It had reminded him why humans were worth protecting, not just their strength or intelligence, but their compassion, commitment, and emotional resilience. That night, Alex reviewed his own experiences with human families. He thought of the bonds he had seen growing up, the care his parents gave, the sacrifices made to ensure safety and education. It all made sense now, why humans invested so much in reproduction and family, why emotions were inseparable from survival. Meanwhile, Lyra returned to her quarters, where she carefully reviewed her notes. She added observations about human behavior, emotional investment, and social structures. She compared them with her species' communal practices, noting the efficiency of shared care but also recognizing the depth and intimacy humans achieved through personal bonds. "This is extraordinary," she whispered to herself. "Humans do not just survive, they connect, protect, and nurture. They fight for their young and their bonds with passion I have never seen before." She fell asleep thinking about the lessons, dreaming of human families, the bonds they shared, and the courage it took to protect those bonds. For Lyra, this was more than science, it was a revelation. Humans were not just another species. They were remarkable, unpredictable, and inspiring. The next day, she would shadow Alex on the colony, beginning the next phase of her understanding. But even now, she knew that the lessons would shape her forever. Understanding humans required more than knowledge. It required observation, reflection, and respect. And Lyra was ready to learn. The colony planet of Ilaris Prime stretched below the station like a living canvas of green forests, silver rivers, and golden plains. From orbit, it looked peaceful, a place where humans and aliens worked side by side, building a new chapter in galactic history. Lyra stood at the shuttle window, her wings folded neatly against her back as she gazed down at the planet. For days, she had studied human reproduction through holograms, charts, and lectures. But today would be different. Today, she would see it all in motion. Lieutenant Alex Carter sat across from her, reading through a data tablet. His uniform was crisp, his expression calm, but even he felt a quiet sense of anticipation. Teaching theory was one thing. Showing Lyra real human life was another. "Are you nervous?" Alex asked, glancing up from the tablet. Lyra blinked, her tone thoughtful. "Not nervous. Curious. I want to see how humans act when they are not being observed in a laboratory. How they live. How they show care," Alex smiled. "Then you'll see plenty today. We'll visit a small settlement, families, schools, farms. It's a peaceful community. And you'll learn more in one day there than in a week of lessons." The shuttle touched down near a cluster of domed habitats surrounded by green fields. The air shimmered slightly in the morning light, carrying the scent of soil and the soft hum of drones tending crops. Children ran through the fields, their laughter echoing across the open plain. Lyra's eyes widened in wonder. "They are so small," she whispered. "And so loud," Alex chuckled. "That's normal. Children are full of energy. They're learning about the world." As they walked through the settlement, humans of different ages waved to Alex, greeting him warmly. Lyra noticed how easily they smiled, how naturally they interacted. There was warmth in their gestures, even among strangers. They stopped at a small house where a human couple greeted them with friendly expressions. A woman named Maria, with kind eyes and a bright smile, invited them inside. "Lieutenant Carter, it's good to see you again. And this must be your alien colleague?" "Yes," Alex said. "This is Nurse Lyra. She's here to learn about human family life, if that's all right." Maria nodded warmly. "Of course. You're welcome here. Please come in." The house was simple but filled with life. Paintings on the walls, plants on the windowsills, and small toys scattered on the floor. A child, no older than 5, peeked out from behind a chair, studying Lyra with wide eyes. Lyra crouched down slightly to meet the child's gaze. Hello, Lyra said softly. I am Lyra. I am a nurse from another world. The child giggled. You have wings. Yes, Lyra said, smiling gently. Do you like them? The child nodded excitedly. They're pretty, Maria laughed. You've made a friend already. Lyra felt something warm inside her chest, an emotion she couldn't quite name. It wasn't scientific curiosity. It was something softer, deeper. Watching the child's bright eyes and innocent smile, she felt a sense of wonder that no hologram could have given her. Alex and Maria talked about the colony's progress. But Lyra's attention was fixed on the small family. The father joined them, bringing food to the table. The parents spoke kindly to each other, their voices calm and affectionate. When their child spilled juice by accident, they didn't scold, only smiled, cleaned it up, and comforted him. Humans forgive easily, Lyra observed quietly. Maria smiled at her. We try to, especially with children. Mistakes are how they learn. Lyra wrote that down in her datapad. Forgiveness is part of teaching. After lunch, they went outside, where several families gathered to tend crops. Lyra watched as parents worked alongside their children, teaching them how to plant and harvest. There was laughter, encouragement, and teamwork in every gesture. Alex explained softly, human children learn by doing. We teach them values like cooperation, patience, and kindness through everyday activities. Lyra's wings fluttered. And all this, working together, sharing, it strengthens the emotional bonds you spoke of. Exactly, Alex said. Humans thrive when they feel connected. That's part of what makes our species strong, even when we face hardship. As the day went on, they visited a small learning center where human children studied with alien teachers. Lyra observed how the humans treated others, how they welcomed alien students, shared their books, and helped each other understand lessons. One alien teacher, an elderly being with silver scales, approached Lyra. Humans are unusual, the teacher said kindly. They form attachments quickly, even with those who are different. It makes them unpredictable but also powerful. Lyra nodded. Yes, I am beginning to see that. Their emotions are not a weakness. They are a kind of strength. Later that afternoon, the calm day was interrupted by a sudden shout near the fields. A child had fallen from a hover cart and scraped his leg badly. Lyra's instincts as a nurse took over. She rushed forward, kneeling beside the crying boy. Shh. You're all right, she said softly, examining the wound. It's just a scratch. Alex arrived beside her with a med kit. Together they cleaned and dressed the wound quickly. The boy's mother arrived moments later, worry written all over her face. She scooped her son into her arms, whispering words of comfort. Lyra stepped back, watching the scene silently. The mother's embrace, the father's relief, the child's small arms wrapping around his parents. It was a simple moment, yet it carried a weight that touched Lyra deeply. They protect their young without hesitation, Lyra said quietly. Alex nodded. That's what it means to be human. Family comes first. Lyra felt something stir inside her, a deep respect, maybe even admiration. Her people cared for their offspring collectively, but this personal, devoted care, it was powerful. It gave humans purpose and unity she hadn't understood before. As the sun set, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Lyra stood by the settlement's edge, watching families return home. She could hear laughter, gentle conversations, and the soft hum of life continuing peacefully. Alex joined her, carrying a small pack over his shoulder. So what do you think of humans now? Lyra turned to him, her expression calm but thoughtful. Before today, I thought reproduction was only about biology. Now I see it is also about hope. Hope, Alex repeated. Lyra nodded. Yes, each child is a promise of the future. Every act of care, feeding, teaching, protecting, is a belief that tomorrow will be worth living. Humans reproduce not just to survive, but to continue believing in something greater than themselves. Alex smiled softly. You understand us better than most people do. Lyra looked back at the settlement, her voice gentle. Perhaps, but I think there is still more to learn, especially about how humans love. Alex nodded. Love is complicated, but if you keep watching, you'll see that it's what drives almost everything we do. As they boarded the shuttle to return to the station, Lyra looked out the window once more, watching the small settlement grow distant beneath them. She felt changed, not just as a student, but as a being who had glimpsed something extraordinary. That night, Back on the station, she wrote a report for the medical council, summarizing her observations. Humans reproduce through emotional and biological unity. Childcare is both physical and emotional. Emotions, love, fear, protection are essential for their survival. Reproduction is tied to hope, continuity, and community. But she didn't stop there. In her private journal, she wrote something more personal. Humans are not just creating life. They are creating meaning. Each bond, each act of care, each moment of sacrifice, these are the reasons their species endures. They are fragile, yet unbreakable, logical, yet deeply emotional. And that combination makes them extraordinary. When Alex stopped by her quarters later, he found Lyra deep in thought. "You wrote your report already?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly, "but I think I will need another lesson. Not about anatomy this time, about emotion." Alex raised an eyebrow. "Emotion?" Lyra nodded. "Yes, I understand how humans reproduce now, but I want to understand why they love." Alex smiled knowingly. "That lesson will take time, Lyra. Maybe a lifetime." She smiled back, her wings reflecting the soft light of the corridor. "Then I'm willing to learn." The station hummed with quiet energy, the soft buzz of machinery filling the halls as Nurse Lyra prepared to present her findings. Today, the medical council, composed of both humans and alien representatives, would hear her report on human reproduction and family life. Lyra felt a flicker of nerves. Although she had observed families, learned from Lieutenant Alex Carter, and written her notes carefully, speaking before the council was different. Her wings twitched slightly as she arranged her data pads and holographic projectors. Alex approached quietly, placing a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "You've learned more than you realize, Lyra. You understand humans not just scientifically but emotionally. That's what will make your presentation meaningful." Lyra nodded. "Thank you, Lieutenant. I will do my best." The council chamber was large, circular, and bathed in soft blue light. Members from dozens of species filled the seats, eyes turning toward Lyra as she entered. She felt their curiosity, their skepticism, and a few small smiles that reminded her of Alex's encouragement. "Begin," one of the council elders said, a tall green-scaled alien with calm eyes. Lyra took a deep breath and activated her holographic displays. Images of human anatomy appeared first: sperm and egg cells, embryonic development, and the human body in detailed layers. Then she moved to scenes she had observed on the colony: children learning with their parents, families working together in the fields, parents comforting their children, and neighbors helping one another. "Esteemed council members," Lyra began, her voice steady, "I have studied human reproduction in depth, both through medical lessons and real-life observation. I wish to share my understanding of this species, not only in biological terms but in social and emotional terms as well." She paused, letting the words settle. Humans reproduce through the combination of male and female gametes. Fertilization occurs inside the female body, and the embryo develops over months until birth. This is standard biology, but human reproduction is more than biology. It is deeply connected to emotional bonds, care, and social cooperation. The council members leaned forward slightly, listening intently. Lyra continued. "Humans invest heavily in raising their young. They feed, protect, educate, and teach their children. They show affection, comfort, and guidance. These behaviors are not separate from reproduction. They are integral. Emotional bonds ensure survival. Humans form families and communities that provide support, creating an environment where children can thrive." She projected a series of observations. One showed a mother comforting a child who had fallen. Another depicted siblings helping each other during a task. A third displayed parents laughing and working alongside their children in the fields. Lyra explained each scene carefully, pointing out the unique qualities that she found remarkable. Humans care deeply, not out of instinct alone, but out of empathy and connection. They forgive mistakes, they teach through patience, and they celebrate growth and learning. Every act of care strengthens their bonds and strengthens their species. A murmur ran through the council chamber. Some members whispered to one another, surprised by the depth of Lyra's observations. One elder, a crystalline being, raised a tentacle. "Your analysis is thorough. But why should emotional bonds be considered a strength?" Lyra looked calmly at the elder. "Because these bonds create resilience. Children who are cared for emotionally and physically grow into adults who value cooperation, empathy, and responsibility. These adults protect the community, work together, and innovate. Humans survive not only because of strength or intelligence, but because of connection. Their bonds make them unpredictable and powerful. She paused, letting the words resonate. And this is why humans inspire respect. They are not the strongest in physical terms, but their combination of care, intelligence, and emotional investment allows them to achieve extraordinary things. Another council member, a multi-limbed alien with pale blue skin, asked, "But what of humans who fail? Who neglect their young?" Lyra nodded. Failures exist as they do in any species, but humans have a unique tendency to adapt and correct mistakes. Communities step in. Families continue to protect and educate. Even when individuals fail, the system of care endures. Their imperfection does not weaken them. It demonstrates their commitment to learning, growth, and survival. A few members exchanged impressed looks. Lyra's observations were both scientific and heartfelt, a rare combination that demanded attention. She moved to the final part of her presentation, the emotional aspect. She projected a quiet scene from the settlement, a father lifting a child to watch the sunset, the mother smiling beside them, and the child laughing freely. Humans reproduce not only to create life, Lyra said softly, but to create meaning. Every bond, every act of care, every sacrifice made for another's well-being is a reason their species thrives. They show courage, empathy, and love in ways that cannot be measured by biology alone. Their reproduction is inseparable from their spirit. The chamber was silent for a moment, the weight of her words settling over the members. Then one human representative stood, a woman named Commander Rhea. She smiled warmly at Lyra. "Your observations are remarkable. You understand humans better than many humans understand themselves." Lyra inclined her head. "I have had excellent teachers. Lieutenant Carter has helped me see beyond anatomy into the human heart." Alex, standing at the back, gave her a proud nod. He could see that Lyra's understanding had grown far beyond facts and diagrams. She now grasped the essence of humanity, why humans endured, why they bonded, and why they were extraordinary. The council murmured among themselves. Then the elder who had first spoken nodded solemnly. "Your report shows that humans are not merely another species. They are resilient, adaptive, and admirable in ways we did not expect. Your insight will help us all understand how to work with them better." Lyra's wings twitched in satisfaction. She had hoped to bridge knowledge, but she had not anticipated the impact. By understanding humans, she had created respect between species. After the council session, Alex approached her. "You did well, Lyra. More than well, you showed them what humans really are." Lyra smiled faintly. "It was not just my work. I observed humans themselves. I watched their courage, their care, their hearts. That is what inspired me," Alex nodded. "And you've done something important. You've helped others see humans not as unpredictable or weak, but as strong in ways they might not understand yet. That is truly remarkable." Over the next few days, Lyra continued to work on the station, teaching other alien nurses about human reproduction and family life. Her lessons were precise, respectful, and insightful. Many aliens began to see humans in a new light, appreciating the strength and emotional bonds, the resilience born from care, and the hope embedded in every act of nurture. Lyra herself felt a sense of growth she had never experienced. Observing humans, teaching her colleagues, and learning from Alex had changed her. She realized that understanding a species went far beyond anatomy. It required empathy, observation, and a willingness to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. One evening, as the station's artificial sun dipped low, Lyra and Alex stood together near the observation deck. Below, Alaris Prime glimmered in shades of green and gold. "Lieutenant," Lyra said softly, "I understand now. Humans are not just survivors. They are creators of meaning. They reproduce to care, to teach, to hope, and to love. That makes them extraordinary." Alex looked at her with a gentle smile. "You've captured it perfectly, Lyra. Humans are flawed, yes, but their courage, care, and connection define them. That's why they endure and why they inspire." Lyra's wings stretched slightly, catching the light. "Thank you for guiding me. I now see humans as more than data, more than biology. I see their hearts, and I respect them deeply." Alex nodded, feeling a quiet pride. Teaching Lyra had been more than a lesson for her. It had reminded him why humans were remarkable. Their strength wasn't just physical. Their skill wasn't just intelligence, it was in their compassion, their connections, and their unyielding hope. As they watched the distant planet together, Lyra's thoughts drifted to the future. She would continue to learn, continue to observe, and continue to share what she had discovered. But she also felt something deeper, a connection, a sense that understanding humans had changed her in ways she could not yet name. The night on the station was calm, the soft hum of life echoing through the corridors. Humans, aliens, and their shared endeavors continued quietly below. And in that calm, Lyra understood something profound: curiosity, learning, and respect could bridge even the widest gaps between species. By the end of her journey, Lyra had learned more than she had ever expected. She had learned not just about human reproduction, but about humanity itself. She had seen the courage in caring, the resilience in love, and the extraordinary power of emotional bonds. And humans, in turn, had inspired her to see that true strength was not only in survival, but in the care, trust, and hope that one being could show another. Lyra turned to Alex, wings glowing softly under the station lights. "I will continue to learn, not just about humans, but about what makes life meaningful." Alex smiled. "And you'll continue to teach others what you've learned. That is how understanding spreads, through curiosity, respect, and the willingness to see the extraordinary in the ordinary."